Here is our factoring review. Yes, you're going to have a lot of factoring in pre-AP geometry. You are pre-AP, so I don't care how you get that job done. As long as you can factor, great. There are lots of different ways to factor, and you just need to know how to get the job done. So I'm going to start out down here with the basic one. Y squared minus 10y plus 25. I'm going to show you my method of working through these, and you can take it or leave it. If you have questions about more of it, great, I'm here to help. So I use a method with a big X. And in this big X, we're going to do A times C at the top and B at the bottom. So if you'll remember, you've got AX squared plus BX plus C. This is where I'm getting these numbers from. So 1 times 25 will give me a positive 25, and I'm going to have a negative 10 down below. So what I'm going to ask myself now is what two numbers will multiply to give me a positive 25 and combine through addition to give me a negative 10. And in this case, my factors of 25 are 1 and 25, 5 and 5. So if I look at 5 and 5, 5 times 5 will give me 25, but we'll add to give me a positive 10. But if I make them both negative, then negative 5 minus 5 gives me the negative 10. Negative 5 times negative 5 gives me the positive 25. And these numbers right here, as you see them, are what you're going to put into your parentheses. So this is going to be y minus 5. And y minus 5, I'll take that, or if you want to go ahead and combine them into y minus 5 squared, that is okay too. This is when you have a leading coefficient of 1, okay? Makes it super easy. Another way that you could use this setup, I'm going to move these over here. Another way you can use this setup is to use those 5s to separate it out into a box. So we're going to take our first term, y squared, our last term, positive 25, and that negative 5 is telling us how to split the middle. Minus 5y minus 5y. And we're going to look left and we're going to look down. So the GCF of y squared and 5y is just a y. Negative 5y and 25 is going to be a 5. We'll worry about signs here in a minute. Y squared and negative 5 is y. And here again we have a 5. So think of this as your Punnett square that you might see in biology. Y times y is going to give you y squared. And here I need to end up with a negative 5. So I'm going to change this sign here, and same thing down here in the bottom left-hand corner. And here again is that y minus 5 and y minus 5. This method comes in handy whenever you have something other than 1 as your first digit. So let's look here and let's do the same thing. So I'm going to start out with the big X. At the top we're going to do A times C. At the bottom we're going to do B. 3 times 4 is 12. 8 at the bottom. So what two factors of 12 add to give me 8? It's going to be 6 and 2. And I'm going to take them over here and put them into the box. So your first term, 3t squared. Last term is a positive 4. And the 6 and 2 tell us how to split this 8t. So plus 6t plus 2t, and now we're just going to do some factoring. So 3t squared and 6t share a 3t. They're both divisible by 3, and I can take t out of both. I have a positive 2 here. 3 and 2 is 1. T and t squared having t in common. And then a 2 here as well. And because everything is positive, that's our answer. 3t plus 2, t plus 2. Remember to check your answer. You can FOIL those two, and you should end up back where you started. Same thing here. We're going to split it up into our big X. So I'm going to have a negative 4 times a positive 7 is a negative 28. And a 12 at the bottom. All right. What two factors of a negative 28 will combine to give you 12? So if I look at 28, 1 and 28, 2 and 14, 4 and 7, and I think that that's about it. 1 and 28 won't get me 12, but 14 and 2 will. So if I put a 14 and a 2, I think to myself, which of those needs to be negative to get me a positive 12? Well, it's the 2. And now I'm going to bring them over to my box. So negative 4t squared. I'm going to split this 12 into 14 and negative 2. And the plus 7 at the end. All right, we're going to look left. In common with 4 and 14 is a 2. And t squared and t brings out a t. And I have a 1 here. I'm going to bring out a 2t and 7. So here, whenever we're looking at these things, we have to try and decide what needs to be negative and what needs to be positive. When I look at this first term, I see that I have a negative. So what that tells me is that the first times the first, this one times this one, is going to have to give me a negative answer. So we'll play with that. Let's see, 2 and 2, 1 and 2. This one right here is the one that gives us our clue. So I need this 2 to be negative. This one's positive, so if we check our signs, 2t and negative 2t gives me this 4t squared. 2t and 7 gives me a positive. 1 and 7 gives me a positive. 1 and negative 2t gives me that negative 2t. So my answer is going to be 2t plus 1 and negative 2t plus 7. All right, same thing here. I'm going to start out with the big X. A times C at the top, B at the bottom. 4 times 5 is 20, and a negative 9. So what two factors of 20 will combine to give me a negative 9? I've got 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. So that 4 and 5 will give me 9, and both of them will need to be negative. Take it and put it into the box. I'm just going to use an x. 4x squared, 5, and then we're going to split the middle term into the negative 4 and negative 5. Negative 4x, negative 5x. Look left, I can bring out a 4x. Look left, I can bring out a 5. Look down, I can bring out an x. And look down, I can bring out a 1. So now it's a matter of what needs to be negative. It looks to me, I need my leading coefficient to be positive, so my 4x and my x are going to stay positive. I need my last term to be a positive, so both of these terms are going to have to be negative. So I'm going to have 4x minus 5 and x minus 1. All right, here I would always look to see if you can bring something out first. And in this case, we can bring out a 2. So I'm going to bring out a 2, and we'll bring him back later. If I divide everything by 2, I'm going to have 3x squared plus x minus 2. Now this is the piece that I'm going to focus on for my x. So a times c is going to be negative 6 with a positive 1. 3 and 2. We'll get that done, and it'll be 3 minus 2 that gives me that positive 1. So if we break that apart, again, I'm going to ignore that 2 that I took out at the beginning just for now. 6x squared. Sorry, I didn't. 3x squared. And a negative 2, and I'm going to split that x into 3x and negative 2x. So look left. Notice I'm still just waiting on my signs. My leading coefficient is positive, so 3x and x are going to stay that way. I need this right there, and I think that that takes care of everything. So I'm going to have 3x minus 2 and x plus 1. And then I'm going to bring that 2 back down from the very beginning. And last one. I don't have anything that I can take out, so I'm going to go ahead and start out with a big X. 9 times 4 is 36. And I have a negative 12, so I'm going to have negative 6 and negative 6. Those two multiplied will give me a positive 36, and those two added will give me a negative 12. Build my box. I'm going to use x's again. 9x squared, 4 at the bottom, and instead of using the negative 12, I'm going to use a negative 6 and a negative 6. Look left. Look down. And now we're going to look at our signs. So our 9x is positive, so the 3x and 3x are going to stay the same. And my 4 is positive, so that tells me that my 2's either need to be both positive or both negative. And they're both going to need to be negative. So I've got 3x minus 2, 3x minus 2. You could also write that as 3x minus 2 squared. I will take either of those.